Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another scorching hot, piping hot podcast episode of Morning Drew. I am, of course, your lovable host, Andrew, aka Tank, aka... I don't even know if there are other things. I think it's just those two. And I'm here with a returning buddy. Please give it up for my good buddy, Daniel. Hello, Daniel. How are you, my friend?
That's me. I'm Daniel.
What's up, man? How's it going?
I've been doing fine, man. I'm back. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. I'm happy to be back on the show, man.
Hell yeah, man. I've been looking forward to having you back on. In your first appearance, I was still very nervous and also a little unsure of how I was doing things. But now that I've edited a few, I've got a few episodes under my belt, I'm very happy to have you back on, to have a fair shake at being on the pod.
Yeah, man. Glad to be back. Big fan of the show so far, especially the episode that I'm in. I'm proud of you for keeping it up. And I do really mean that, because doing anything creatively is difficult. And I feel like what we were talking about before the show started was the podcast for which I am an editor on Haunts Are Us. Please listen to it. It's difficult to start. It's easy when you're on the roll. When you have the schedule of, like, you know, I'm going to record this day. I have X, Y, and Z days to get it out. I want to get an episode out every week or every however long. It's good to have that schedule. I noticed that on these periods of time where I don't have an episode of the podcast to work on, I'll just be like, man, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Like, I need something to do with my time.
Right.
Like, I don't have homework. I don't have, like, work-related things to do outside of, like, you know, my normal business hours. I don't have anything to do. I guess I'll just do whatever I don't know, normally, whatever I do when I'm not busy.
Sure.
And I feel like as soon as you go long enough, it's like, well, I don't want to do that because I'm too busy being lazy. It's very much like going to the gym. Like, why would I go to the gym when I can just stay home and not go to the gym? Why would I want to work on the episode of the podcast when I can very easily not?
Yeah.
And you've been doing it. You're 7-8 episodes in?
This is the crisp number 10, man.
10!
This is the decky.
Double digits, baby.
Yeah, man. We did it. We earned that second digit. That gym analogy is perfect. I've had habits that I've been successful in implementing that die abruptly as soon as I lose any amount of momentum. And so going into this, I recognized the importance of momentum and making sure that, like, okay, I need to put something up every single week. If I miss 1 week, then that's a death sentence. And so I've been sticking with it. I'm also just enjoying it. It's fun. I like talking to my pals. Editing is actually a lot more fun than I thought.
Yeah.
All the times that I've had conversations with people and in hindsight been like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or, oh man, now I have the power and I can say whatever I want in any order. I'm a rambling man for sure, so there have been plenty of times where, like, I say what I meant to say and then 2 other things that I did not need to say. Now I take those 2 things out and I sound so eloquent and witty.
Yeah, big smart.
I appreciate your kind words. Thank you. It means a lot to me. So, one thing that I wanted to bring up to you is I have been introducing you as Daniel, my good buddy Daniel, my good friend Daniel.
That's me.
And on Twitter and on other places, the name Noel gets thrown around.
Yeah, that's also me.
And I also realized that it never came up in the first episode, but I call you Noel. Like, I've always known you as Noel. We, I think, went to elementary school together, and I knew you as Noel. And then in high school, people were just calling you Daniel, and so I was like, all right, we're just changing names. We can change names. What's that about?
Okay, so, born, everyone calls me that. Everyone calls me Noel. My family, my friends, everyone I know, I have no reason to think that my name would be anything other than the thing people call me. Because, you know, why would I? Why would my parents lie about such an important thing?
Right.
And not to say that they were lying to me, but graduate middle school, summer break. I'm about to go to that nice middle school. My mom goes, all right, come get in the car, but we got to go take your birth certificate so that way you know you exist. I'm looking at my birth certificate. I'm looking at the name very specifically. I don't know why I decided to look at the name. And I noticed that it's like, oh, this is Daniel. Hey, Ma, I think you got the wrong one. And he goes, no, that's yours. I was like, the name's wrong. And he goes, no, look at the middle name. And I was like, what? And then obviously it is my first name, my true first name, Daniel, and my middle name is Noel. And The reason why this is my mom hates my first name. And why would my mom hate my first name? It's my dad's name after all. That's because my grandma decided that Daniel was going to be my first name. Just like she decided that Daniel was going to be my dad's name. And it is coincidentally my grandpa's name. So, not to say that I'm like Daniel the Third.
Right.
Because, as I understand, you need to have all the same middle name for you to be the third. And I don't believe my dad has a middle name. And I don't know hardly anything about my grandpa. Anyway, my family and some of my friends, some people who know me from middle school, high school, or onward, if you know me from work, call me Daniel. I respond to both. I think it's weird. Or not, I think it's weird, but I will take a mental note when they switch calling me whatever, depending on whom I'm around. Like, there are some of my friends who will always call me one, and when they're around others, will call me the other. Like, I notice that people who call me Daniel will call me Noel when they're around people who know me as Noel, but people who know me as Noel will almost never switch. And who knows why that is.
It's pretty crazy. That late in your life, and she just gave you the big name reveal?
It was really a moment of, what are some other things that I just don't know? And in my life, I would go to learn things that I don't know, and maybe didn't want to.
That's fucking wacky, man. As a fragile young mind, like, I don't even know my own name.
And, you know, who are you but the person that people call you? I don't know.
I've always known you as Noel. I've mostly referred to you as Noel. I can't remember why I decided to introduce you as Daniel here. I felt like maybe that was just the most recent thing people called you. So I was like, well, new people are going to be hearing him, so they should know his most recent name.
My most recent name? I suppose you're right. I've had one name since I was born, and I've only had the other since middle school, so.
Dang, your grandma really strong-armed your parents like that?
My parent strong-armed my mom. My dad's like, I don't know. It is what it is. Name him whatever you want.
So if it was up to your mom, would your name have been Noel properly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It is a fine name. I'm sure you get plenty of, around the holiday times, people making the obvious joke, but...
Yeah, they call me Saint Nick.
Yeah, man.
They're like, oh, dude, there he goes, dude, it's Rudolph from the song.
Looking a little foggy, buddy. I'm gonna need you to lead the way.
Yeah.
For me, it's a little odd because my proper name is Andrew, but most of my hometown buddies call me Tank. And that was there's a certain energy that goes into that nickname that I don't think I was able to carry down here. At the very least, like, introducing yourself as Tank, I feel like you kind of get an idea about a person with a violent nickname like that.
Yeah.
And so I just went with Andrew.
The interesting thing about that was knowing you as Andrew, and then like, oh, everyone around here is calling him Tank, I guess I'll just call him that. And then you didn't seem to mind. In a very similar situation to me, as like people call me one thing and then people call me as another thing, I was just like, oh, well, you know, maybe he's just more comfortable. Like, it's a fun nickname. Like, we have a mutual friend named Mikey. Mm-hmm. And it's just convenient to call him Mikey when we also have another friend named Michael.
Sure.
And they're hanging out together a lot of the time. I'm not going to call them both Mikey. Michael has never been Mikey. And Mikey will never be Michael.
And I had my other friend Michael on the podcast. I don't know how our friend Michael back home feels about his name and adjusting it, or if he's like strictly Michael, but I know that my friend Michael, who was on the show, is strict about making sure you call him, well, maybe not strict, I'm sure he'd let you slide if you called him Mike once or twice, but in conversation with him, he was like, I much prefer people call me Michael, because that is my name. Mm-hmm. And I get that. It's my name. Can you call me by my name, please? Thank you. The whole thing. All 2 syllables.
All of it. Say them both.
And I respect it. I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's his name. I am not a fan of Andy as a means of shortening Andrew. There's a few reasons I don't like it. One, there's a children's hour-long special program or something called The Magical Musical Mansion, I think. In fact, I'm certain that's what it's called.
Never heard of something like that.
Yeah, for a while I was convinced that it was a fever dream I had. The Magical Mystery Tour. That's the Beatles album, Magical Musical Mansion. Yeah, 1992 film. It's on YouTube if anyone's interested. And it's what you'd expect from a kids program. They go in, they sing songs, there's a mystery, colorful 90s. The main villain, and this is going to be a spoiler, so if anybody wants to watch the Magical Musical Mansion and they don't want to know the big Sixth Sense style plot twist, the villain is the first person you meet in the mansion, a gentleman by the name of the Andy Bandy Man.
Huh.
And I'm sorry if I ruined that for you. I should have allowed a proper pause. But he's basically the size of a figurine, maybe a G.I. Joe or a Barbie, depending on what side of the toy aisle you're on. And he's got the one-man band outfit going on with like the big drum and the cymbals on his knees and, you know, a harmonica and all that.
This guy sounds like he rules.
He's pretty sick. I mean, I loved him a lot in the beginning until I found out he was the one stealing people's stuff.
He needed it, man. What are they doing with it?
I forget. I think he just wanted people to hang out with him or something like that. And he was like, you guys were paying attention to me, so I stole the ballerina slippers. I don't exactly remember, but...
Oh, man. Now this guy is a foot thing, I hate him again.
Well, he is a foot tall.
Oh, jeez. The perfect size.
The perfect size for crying. So, as a kid, you know, kids get teased, it's fine. And so my parents would tease me, my sisters would tease me, my cousins would tease me. Oh, check it out, it's the Andy Bandy Man. Oh, don't steal my drumstick or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want your fucking drumstick. And so, just because I didn't like being teased, I kind of did not like being referred to as Andy. Because more often than not, it was followed by Bandy Man. But I also do not like the nickname Andy because it does have a bit of a childish tone to it. Other people who go by Andy, more power to them. And at this point, I've made the decision I don't like it, so I found more reasons to not like it. And that reason I came up with was, it's the same number of syllables as Andrew. It's 2 syllables. You're not saving anything. Part of shortening a name or creating a nickname is to have a more convenient 1-syllable sound, like Michael, hey Mike. Or other examples.
Because on the script you're saving letters, man. I have to type less.
Oh, the written version of it is shorter. You're right about that.
Yeah, man.
All right.
When the Truman Show guy is writing the script on your life, he's like, dog, I ain't got time to write all these letters. You're Andy now.
Yeah, in that case, that's 2 whole characters you're saving. That's actually a good point. And if we're talking birthday cake space...
Parents ain't trying to pay for extra frosting, dude. On a gravestone, they charge per letter.
Oh, dude, I would haunt the fuck out of some people if they put Andy on my gravestone.
Dude, they're gonna put a dash where, like, they're only gonna put the last 2 numbers on the year you died.
The disrespect.
It goes... They're gonna take out the 19 on the first one when you were born. Gonna take out the 20 on the year you die.
But that's the story of why I don't like Andy, I guess. I think that's all of it. Is it? Is there another reason I don't? Oh, there was one guy that I let get away with it. At my first job, bagging groceries, there was a very strange old man that also bagged groceries.
Oh, yeah, you can't mess with old people. Those guys kind of just do whatever they want.
Yeah, he was like, Andy, did you get the carts, Andy? Make sure you get all the carts out there. And I'm like, okay, Jim. Sorry. I'll go get
Man,
the
there'd
carts.
be this dude at one of my old jobs where it'd be like, oh, Danny, what's up, Danny? And I hated this guy. I was like, it's Daniel. And he goes, oh, you don't like Danny? I'm like, it's Daniel. And I'd hold him to it. Like, I literally would not respond to him if he called me Danny.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna look at you, dog.
Yeah. If you want to talk to me, call my name.
I look over and I was like, you know what my name is. And I turn back around.
I mean, I'm proud of you for sticking. It helps that you didn't like the guy. That you were willing to stand your ground. I don't like that guy either. He sounds like a real jerk.
Some people just they live too long. The world changes around them, and good for them, I guess, for not changing with it. But bad for them for being my coworker.
I guess we can move on.
If you don't mind,
Sure.
I was thinking I might ask you a couple of questions.
Oh, sure, dude. Let's hear it. I love being a guest on my own podcast.
Yeah. I do have a couple of questions, at least 2. The first question I wanted to ask, I was on Twitter, and one of my friends, Leslie, who, she's Gato on the podcast I make, Hansa Russ. Go listen to it.
Yeah.
She she had a tweet. I laughed at it. I may have even clicked the funny heart button. That she said, "Before I am American, I am a Britney fan," which I think a lot of people can relate to, especially with that new documentary that I have not seen.
Hashtag Free Britney, right?
And this is something I kind of think about a lot too. It's like, I would not consider myself a lot of things that I am. I am an American, I am a male, but I wouldn't say that. If somebody asked me to describe myself, I would say, like, I am this, I am that. And, you know, somebody who I think I am is, like, not like, you know, I like long walks on the beach or whatever,
sure.
But just like, what are some things that you would define yourself as? What are like things that you enjoy to the point that you would call it a personality trait?
Damn, that's extremely deep. I'm here for it.
It sounds a lot more deep than I probably meant it. I personally have always been a fan of fighting games. I've been playing fighting games ever since I can remember. I remember going to my cousin's house. They beat me up as Blanca. I didn't know how could I punch him if he's electrocuted? I'm getting damaged every time. And then I was like, oh, you just hit him when he's not electrocuted anymore. This game rules, because it was a nice little puzzle for me to solve, and I've been having fun with them ever since. So I would say, like, before I am an American, before I am a Britney fan, because we're all Britney fans, I would say I'm a fighting game enthusiast. I'm a fan. The average fan, ooh, the average game enjoyer, I am a very much I press the button, A very wise man once described fighting games as rhythm games for angry people.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, am I limited to just one phrase like that?
No, you can as many or as few as you'd like, but you know, hopefully something that, you know, means a lot to you, and it can be something as simple as, oh, I like music, because, you know, you play guitar, you've been to concerts, so if it is something where, like, I like music, then you're like, oh, well, you know, these are the artists that I like, and this is why I learned how to play the guitar, and this is why I disagreed with Anthony Fantano's review of my favorite album. He gave it a light 3, dude. That thing is a strong 10 on a bad day. Like, you know, it can be something as simple as that, but it has to be something you gotta feel it. You gotta feel it in your heart.
All right, I'm gonna limit myself to 3 because I'm sure I could come up with a lot, and also I just appreciate the number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's my attempt at summing myself up in 3 sentiments or titles. Andrew Fahey, a.k.a. Tank, a.k.a. other things. Comedy writer. Jokes man, other iteration of that. Jokes man, yes. In fact, I think I like that best. Jokes man. Music enjoyer. And 3... I gotta be true to myself. Fast food aficionado.
Ooh, any fan of Morning Drew knows that you are a fast food aficionado.
Yeah, another nice thing about this podcast is I'm learning a lot about myself and my interests, and I've had something to say about fast food or just junk food in general every single installment.
It's relatable, man. It's the everyman.
It's apparently much more important to me than I ever knew. So I think I might even just put that there. It's like, I enjoy trying things, and it's fun, and it's indulgent, and just because it's not a fine wine from Napoli or Naples, yeah, it's dog food for idiots, but maybe I'm an idiot who likes dog food.
Yeah, man, it's only slop if you think it is.
Sure.
I remember, this is something I feel like I should work on. But something that I'm always doing is like, oh, dude, did you see the meme where? No, but I don't know. I saw a dumb little post where it's just like, it's like a Facebook screenshot where like a guy's eating a slice of pizza and he goes, this Little Caesar shit, this pizza's banging when you don't have a bitch telling you it sucks. And
that's the truth.
It is. I mean, respect women, but
sure.
I mean, like, if you're enjoying your favorite garbage pizza and you don't have anybody in your town, like, how come you don't ever take me ever to the Mountain Mikey? How come you never take me to the Take and Bake? You know, LeBron James owns Blaze, and it's right down the street, and you got to take me to here? It's like, sometimes I got $5, Sometimes I'm going to be hitting the road, and sometimes I don't got time to stop. So I'm going to grab myself a nice pie, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to keep eating. You just keep it rolling. So
Yeah, dude.
enjoy your slop. But to you, I hope that tastes like the finest wine.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what I would do. Like, just thinking about what I spend most of my mental energy on. And, now that I've said it out loud, I feel a little foolish because I think other people would be like, a father, a brother.
No, that's whack. I hate that. That's why I wanted to say, like, hey, if it is something like that may on the surface be basic, tell me why it's not basic. Tell me why you don't think you're a loving husband and a warm father and a gentle soul, because that's whack.
I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, it's like, unless you can tell me about how dope your kids are, I don't want to hear that you're a father. Because, I mean, like, anybody can be a father, even women can be fathers. You're not special because you're a father. If you got special kids, then you can be a special father. I'm gonna tell you why my kids are special, and then boom, you love your kids that much more. And now you're a special father because you love your kids more than people might originally assume.
Sure.
That kind of goes back to the thing I was saying, the first episode I was in. Hey, listen to it again. Make it have the most views because I'm the best guy. But it's like, do things deliberately. If you're going to say something, you got to mean it. If you're going to say, hey, these are 3 things that I define myself as: a fast food man, a jokesman, and a music man.
Yeah, I think the order I put it in, I think, is honest. I think that's how I would prioritize it.
You were a music man before you were a fast food man?
I think so, yeah. Because I will feel guilt about food sometimes, but I will never feel guilt about the music I like.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you have a 3? Like you said, fighting games, do you have 2 more to round that out?
Do I have 2 things to round that out? Huh. Probably. I mean, even though I had these questions for you, I didn't necessarily think about them myself. But the second question I wanted to ask you, I did put a lot of thought into for myself. I was thinking about asking you this since the day you asked me to be back. And that is, what are some of your inspirations? And I want to preface this by saying, not necessarily inspirations for wanting to make a podcast. What are pieces of content that you consume where you're like, I want to do that? Like, I want to make... I hate content. I hate using the word content, but it is appropriate for this very specific thing. It's like, this person is making the type of thing that I'm super into, and I want to make that as well.
Okay.
And what are some of the things that you see? They're like, that guy, the way this guy is telling his jokes rules, and I want to tell jokes like him.
Okay. Yeah, I dig it. I've put thought into this in the past, and I think I have a couple answers. What inspires me? Well, I can tell you the day. I can't tell you the specific day, but I can tell you the occasion that inspired me to move to LA to be a comedy writer.
Mm-hmm.
I am less now, but have always been a big fan of late night talk show host Conan OBrien. When he moved to TBS after losing The Tonight Show, I followed him there pretty loyally, and I've kept up with like pretty much every episode for many months. And I was eating it up with a spoon, a fork, a knife, sporks, every utensil in the house. I was infatuated. And then at some point there was an episode where, in the monologue, I was like guessing the punchlines before he even said them. And I was kind of like, huh. And I was like, that's kind of whack. And then he was doing some sketches, and I was like, this isn't that funny. And then, overall, it was just an underwhelming episode. And that happens, especially if you're cranking one out every single night. But it was in that moment that I really had... Well, I should say, I've had the thought before Conan that I wanted to be a comedy writer. I like comedy. I've always... Not always, but I had enjoyed stand-up for a long time. I just enjoyed making people laugh and being funny. But after watching that episode, I was like, wait, could I actually do this?
You're like, this guy sucks, or his writers suck. I can write better than that. I'm gonna go all in and show them I can write better than that.
Sort of.
Nah, dude. Talk that shit. Let them know.
And so I was just like, I think I could actually do that. And it was in that moment that I decided, like, maybe I will do that. And so at that point, I started the enrollment process of coming down to school down here and studying writing and doing everything I've done up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
I also am I'll cite two comedians that I'm very fond of. Kyle Kinane. Do you know Kyle Kinane?
No, unfortunately not. No.
He's a real funny dude. I think he and I have similar energy. He is also a Capricorn. But he's extremely flannel shirt, beard and a beanie, like accidentally talking about heavy stuff while also talking about pickles or something like that. I don't know. I feel like I'm not doing him justice. He's a really funny guy. He inspires me a lot as far as like the type of writing I do and the way I am. I also am a big fan of just like jokes through and through. So lately I've been really into a comedian named Mark Normand. He's extremely set up punchline. Like he just writes jokes and he'll be the first to tell you that jokes are first and foremost. Write jokes, be whoever you want to be, but make sure you're writing jokes. And so I take a lot of inspiration from him. This answer is going to sound a little hoity-toity if I'm using that phrase correctly, but I feel driven when I see people younger than me doing more than me.
Okay. No, I don't know if hoity-toity is the appropriate word, but go on.
Yeah, like, especially now in the YouTube era where people are just putting stuff up. Like, I'll see content that fucking rules, and you learn more about the person and you find out they're only like 23. And I'm over here entirely 30 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had a 7-year head start on this person, and they are already doing creative stuff that they want to be doing, and they're great at it.
Yeah.
And so if I had been honing my craft in the same amount of time, then who knows how far along I would be at this point. And so it's just a demonstration of how, like, sticking to what you want to be doing and having discipline can take you much further than you think. And it's not until you see a demonstration of it that it, in my case at least, kind of opens your eyes to what could be. I'm not trying to say that I have any regret for not hitting the pavement harder.
The important thing is that you did.
Yeah.
The journey of 1,000 steps starts with one, you know?
Exactly.
They say, like, oh, so-and-so author got their first book published at 50 years old, you know? They say Henry Ford built his first car when he was done being a horrible anti-Semist at 42 years old. So, like, it's okay to be shitty at things for a long time, so long as you eventually start. You don't even have to be good at it, because Ford sucks. I hate that guy, and his cars are bad. But he's the guy.
I definitely do feel it a little bit, the whole it's never too late to start. Older people have seen success situation, and I am certainly a little older than people who are also in my field and are just starting, but I'm more so commenting on like the span of time. When, for example, I turned 20, I thought to myself, I want to learn how to play the guitar. So I bought a guitar, I practice once a week, maybe, you know, I fiddle with it, I play the same guitar riff, whatever. 7 years pass. I'm 27. I am the same amount of good at the guitar. I look back, and there's a 25-year-old person, or maybe younger, and they are fantastic at the guitar, and they're shredding, and they're playing all my favorite songs. I'm like, whoa. And I look, and they also picked up the guitar when they turned 20. And so in that 7 years where I was dilly-dallying and not trying to learn the guitar, this person put in the work and is eons better than me, possibly better than I'll ever be. Like, we all have the same amount of time. It's what we do with it. Good question.
Yeah. So, in 2020, I wanted to make it a resolution of mine to make original content. And I feel like I did, and I'm pretty happy with it. And part of it was just, I was thinking that when I was a youngster, when I was in like middle school, high school, whenever I became like aware of the internet, because, you know, back in our day, the internet wasn't something that you could just go to whenever you wanted. You had it on your phone. It was kind of like you had to make the deliberate thing to like spend time on the internet. And I was thinking of how like I would go to Newgrounds and I'd see all these guys do like these hilarious flash animations, even if they were bad. Like it would be, you know, the roughest whatever, but it was like you can tell that it was somebody no older than 20 making all of these things. Was making all of these little animations, making all these jokes, making all this music, making all these games, and I thought that was the coolest. I would go to YouTube and I would watch, whatever kids watched on YouTube. Like, I'm going to watch Call of Duty Headshot compilation. Or I'm going to watch, very specifically, I'm going to type in those three funny letters, YTP, onto YouTube. And what is it going to give me? It's going to give me a YouTube poop. I would love watching these things. I was just thinking that when I was young, I knew for a fact that the people that were making these were my age. With the exception of one guy, I think he went by the name Chemistry Guy, and he was like a dentist. And I just thought that was the coolest. That here's this medium that is super absurdist, and is like, I'm going to take an episode of the Super Mario Super Show, and I'm going to make Luigi say Mama Luigi over and over again. I'm going to get the Sonic cartoon, and I'm going to edit where Dr. Eggman says snooping as usual, where it sounds like he's saying penis, but a pangus. And it was so crazy to me that here's like dumb 14-year-olds just like me who are making and watching this, as well as like old ass adults who are doing the same thing. And I thought that was so cool. And in 2020, that came to a realization. It's like, oh, so anybody can do this whenever they feel like it, forever? I feel like that is kind of a very different thing than what you were, like a crisis that you were facing or just explained, where it's like, well, these are people who have been doing this. They started when I started and they've gone further. That's kind of the point when it comes to a YouTube poop. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't even have to be funny. It just has to be, I don't know, weird. And it doesn't even have to be weird. It just has to be something that you make. And there's a lot of originality into it. You can listen to Hank Hill say Dallas and reverse it where it says Salad, and that's funny. I don't necessarily want to make a YouTube poop. Or I would love to, but it's like I just want to make something. I want to make a thing, whether it's good or whether it's bad. I found that a lot of the content creators that I enjoy are people who either grew up around this time or either were making them or were watching them. And I thought that was cool. So there are people that I follow currently. There's one content creator that I've been a huge fan of ever since I discovered him. Goes by the name of WayneRadioTV. That's my boy. This guy is super crazy, super, I don't know, he's like a Twitch streamer. But he's, a YouTube poop guy. You can tell by watching any of his content that like, oh, this guy has seen the Fresh Prince of Blair. You can tell that this guy has seen Dr. Rabbit is racist. You can tell. And you know it. You know it. I feel like anybody who has, like, shared a specific period of time when they were young has a very specific humor. That doesn't mean, like, I don't enjoy regular jokes. That doesn't mean I have, like, the brain worm that I can only laugh whenever, like, a weird thing happens, but I feel like I enjoy a weird thing more than your average person. If somebody's laughing at, a chicken going down the road, then that's cool, and I'm happy for you. But you're probably not laughing when Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is saying, I got a leg in one hand and a brie in the other. I was heavily inspired when I was young to be like, I want to make stuff like this. This particular medium is a collaborative effort of everything that you've seen of it. Every piece of content that I made is inspired by every content that I've seen before it. If that makes any sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I get you.
So, like, when I talk about that streamer guy that I was talking about a minute ago, this dude is always putting his friends on. Because this guy is successful, I'm going to take all of my friends and we're all going to be successful together. So because of him, now I'm following all of these other content creators who happen to be friends with this guy. And because now I am exposed to more people, I have more inspirations and I have more ideas. The joke of like, oh, here's this DoorDash commercial. I used to be a delivery driver here in the era of COVID-19, and people would freak out every time I'd show up at their place. Like, I'd walk over to their door, and then here's an old man who'd like shout at his window, "Put the food down right there!" And like, they don't care. They just want their food. Here's this 3D animated like DoorDash commercial, and he's dancing, and who cares if the dude delivering your food dies? You got your food and you're dancing. These hoes ain't loyal.
He's like, I don't. Do I still have to tip him?
You. So that is what I tried to convey in this 8-second long video. That is a ripoff of a better, funnier video.
As you said, inspiration.
Yeah. So that is my inspiration. I feel like making content is fun, and I'm inspired by the people I choose to surround myself with.
Good shit, man.
I probably talked about that thing way longer than it took me to make it. Like, and for this thing only being 8 seconds, I assure you that probably took me like, I don't know, like 20 minutes minimum to like gather the things and learn, like open up 15 YouTube tabs and like Sony Vegas, how to do the thing that I want to do, but do it better than what I'm already doing because the way I'm doing it sucks.com. I feel like I had a third question to ask you, but those are the two I definitely wanted to ask you. What would you define yourself as, and what do you find as inspiration?
Yeah, they were good questions, man. And, it's always fun to delve into that stuff. And it's also, in thinking about it, I am reminded of it. And so it kind of puts a fire back in me. Not that I was missing it, but it's good to be reminded what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Mm.
Part of this show is basically show and tell your most recent interests. So I like to ask the question, what you digging, dude?
I'll tell you exactly what I've been digging. Remember that dude I was telling you about, that Wayne guy, WayneRadioTV. Everyone should follow him on Twitch or Twitter or whatever. Yesterday, I was hanging out with two buddies of mine, two big buddies, and I casually, offhand, just mentioned they were like complaining about broke ass Biden and how he ain't doing shit for us, and they're like, oh, I can't wait to make less money on unemployment. Thanks, Biden. I really appreciate it. And I was like, oh, this reminds me of that time that Joe Biden buried dogs, and they had no idea what I was talking about.
I know what you're referring to, but go ahead.
Yeah, the analogy was like smoother than that. To the people uninformed, there are these two guys on the internet, this Wayne guy that I was telling you about, and this dude on Tumblr goes by the name Piss Vortex. Big Bernie guys, just like me, they were like, we hate this guy, but we're going to make a goof on Biden. There was a time where Bernie was like doing a big rally, and he's pointing in the stage, he's doing all this gesticulations, and then like a bird lands on his finger. It was like a magical moment where here's Bernie and he's filling people with hope. And then what is more the image of hope than like a small little robin landing on his finger? And this is during like the 2020 election cycle. I can only assume, who knows what possessed these guys to make this joke, but I can only assume what is the opposite of like the hopefulness of a bird landing on a guy's finger than this this like video of these two guys in Russia who are like undoing this piece of sidewalk to like find a dog that's buried underneath, and like very clearly, very obviously reverse the gif where it looks like they're burying the dog and sealing him with bricks. And they make the joke, this dog walked on stage on a Biden rally and Joe Biden had his team bury and seal the dog underground.
Yeah.
And this person that I'm describing is like, dude, what are you talking about? Joe Biden didn't bury a dog. I'm like, of course he didn't. Of course. But I show them the very real Snopes article. Snopes, of course, is the website where you look up rumors or whatever. And then there's a real Snopes article that says, no, Joe Biden did not bury a dog live on stage. If you look at the comments of this tweet, everyone's like, this isn't real. How can you guys not tell? And it's like, actually, it is real. Look, I just posted the video. He's burying it. That's reversed. And goes, oh yeah, well tell the dog that's reversed.
I bet you there's a dog underground somewhere that really wishes this video was reversed too, huh?
Yeah. I don't know what they say like German people have like a word for a variety of different emotions. I don't know what the word is for like making fun of people that are like, they so desperately have to be right about something, especially in the obvious face of like quote unquote political satire, because I wouldn't even necessarily call this political satire. It's just a joke. Sure. It's just a funny goof. Of course Biden didn't bury a dog, but the fact that you're going so hard to try to prove me wrong on a very clear and obvious, I wouldn't even say a lie, a very clear, obvious joke, that's hilarious. Yeah. That's what I'm digging. And it was such a magical moment yesterday that I got to share this whole thing to this person who had no idea. And then they got on their phone and they're typing in Joe Biden buried
Damn,
dogs.
they really bit.
And now we're like showing each other like all these funny jokes. They're like, how did I not know? I feel like I've been on the internet enough to have seen this. How did Joe Biden burying dogs just completely fly by me? And it was just like, we're going back in time to like a moment where, you know, who cares about all the troubles of the world? We're laughing at Joe Biden burying dogs. There's like the meme very specifically of like a dog walks on stage and then it's a picture of Bernie. What does he do? He says, "Oh, hi, doggy." And what does Joe Biden say? "My psionic warriors seal this boo-boo bear within the earth."
Boo-boo bear?
Yeah. That's what I've been digging.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. I dig it too. If you don't mind me mentioning something that I've been digging this week.
Yeah, man, hit me up.
Yesterday, I received something I ordered in the mail, a new desk.
Oh.
It is a standing desk, so I'm actually standing up right now. I know, crazy. I can talk and stand at the same time.
An affront to God. We wouldn't have invented chairs if he wanted us to stand.
Yeah, he's just like, your legs bend them and sit on the chair, come on. I'm like, never. And so I received it. It was not built when I received it, so I had to build it. So I decided, hey, I'm going to go full dad mode, and I'm going to listen to the Doobie Brothers while I build a desk.
The Doobies?
Yeah, do you know the Doobie Brothers?
I don't. I couldn't tell you a single Doobie Brother.
Well, hey, hang on to that thought. Don't look it up, because the end of this sentiment has to do with the names of the Doobie Brothers. Spoiler alert, there are 8 of them.
There's 8 Doobie
There
Brothers?
are 8 Doobie Brothers, yes. Mama Doobie was putting in work.
Dang.
So, specifically, I was listening to a live performance of the Doobie Brothers in Santa Barbara in, I think, 1982. And it's about an hour long, and it took me about 2.5 hours to build the desk. And so I listened to it 2.5 times, and then I let the third time roll, because I've just been really, I like, the Doobie Brothers are really good. Do you know any of their songs?
Yeah, man, that classic Doobie Brothers time, let the third time roll. Let the third time roll. That's the Doobie
No,
Brothers,
that's
right?
the Cars.
Is it really the Cars?
Let the good times roll.
In the middle of the street? No, but go on about. I genuinely and for real don't know a single Doobie
You probably
Brothers
do. It's the kind of stuff you would probably hear on the radio while waiting in line at like Blaze Pizza or something. It's they have the song "Without Love, Where Would You Be Now?" Now. They have they have one song that I'm confused by. There was a period of time where a gentleman by the name of Michael McDonald was a member of the Doobie Brothers, and in that time period, a song called "What a Fool Believes." It appeared on a Doobie Brothers album. It is now more synonymous as a Michael McDonald song because he went on to have kind of a solo career. You've certainly heard the song. It's the "What a Fool Believes, a wise man has the something." Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I feel like Michael McDonald is a name that I've heard, and that rendition that you gave me was sounded familiar.
All right, cool. They've got a lot of really cool tunes. I'm a fan of the Doobie Brothers, the Brothers Doobie. They do be making music, I tell you that much.
Hey.
So on the third spin of this live show, I let it run out, and at the end of the show, they tell the audience members who was playing music that whole time, and I gotta be honest, they've got some silly names. So I will share with you now the names of the Doobie Brothers as they appeared in the Santa Barbara live show in the year 1982. And I'll try to sound like the guy who was doing it. So he goes, "All right, so this man here, he's on the saxophone, the keyboards, the vocals. He's a jack of all trades. He does it all. Give it up for Cornelius Bumpus." Round of applause. All right, and then on the drums here, on percussion, he's been with us a long, long time. Give it up for Chet McCracken. All right, and also on percussion here on the bongos, he's been with us for a long, long time. You know him, you love him. Give it up for Bobby LeKind.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are the Doobie Brothers not brothers? Are they not siblings?
I think 2 of them are brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 of them are gentlemen of color, so... They are obviously not actual brothers, but there are 8 people on stage performing under the name of the Doobie Brothers.
Mm-hmm. The Doobie Brothers.
Yeah,
Got
they
them.
Doobie Brothers. At the end, if you want to guess who the black guys are.
Oh, they are the brothers?
No.
I was gonna say, like, I thought you were gonna say, like, only 2 of them play music at a time.
The funny thing is they all sing, so there are times where some guys are, like, they have a dedicated singer, I think, and there are songs where he's not singing. Like, if you had Michael McDonald in your band and you did not have him singing, then you would be the fool that believes.
Then you won't have him on your band much longer.
Well, so just to recap, we've got Cornelius Bumpus, we've got Chet McCracken, Bobby LeKind, and I will remind you that Chet McCracken was on drums, Bobby LeKind was also percussion, he was on bongos and other...
Yeah, he was also on the bongo.
And we've got our other drummer here. He's been with us a long, long time, you know him. Give it up for Keith Knudsen.
It's not a real name, dude.
It's his
Come on.
name.
You're playing me for a fool.
Yeah. All right, and that's all of our drummers. Moving on. Over here, he plays the guitar. He plays the steel violin. If it's got strings, he can play them. Give it up for John McPhee. All right, now over here, we got him on the bass guitar. He's in charge of the lower end of things. We love having him on stage with us here. Give it up for Willie Weeks.
Man, there ain't no like Smiths. They're like, everyone just got the wildest name on earth.
Hey, they're brothers, right?
Yeah.
And then on the keyboard synthesizers, give it up for Michael McDonald, and he, people know Michael McDonald. And then the guitar, who I think is the lead guy, is named Pat Simmons.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a name I've heard before.
That's a normal name. Can you guess who the 2 black guys were?
Was it Pete Knudsen?
Keith
Was
Knudsen?
Was it
No.
Bubba Skanks? What was? I feel like
from the top.
You said. Yeah.
So on saxophone and vocals, we have Cornelius Bumpus.
Okay, it was definitely him.
Okay, so you got one. Yes, he's very black.
Got him.
He sings too. He sings great. And then the first drummer is Chet McCracken.
Yeah, that sounds.
The next percussionist is Bobby LeKind. The next drummer is Keith Knudsen.
Did you say Bobby LeKind was on the bongo?
He's on the bongos, baby.
Okay, was it him? Is he the number 2? Oh, dang.
No, he's extraordinarily white.
Oh, extraordinarily, huh? I feel like that could go either way.
Yeah.
I had a 50-50 in my heart.
Yeah, it's the most dad rock shit in the world, dude. Like, they had a bongo solo in the middle of one of the songs. He was just ripping the bongos. Guitarist, steel violinist. If it's got strings, he can play them. John McPhee. On the bass guitar, Mr. Willie Weeks.
Oh, was it him? Yeah.
Yeah, Willie Weeks.
It's like Willie Weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like you said he was on the bass, right?
Correct.
Bassist named Willie Weeks has to have a little bit more swagger than your average white person band.
Oh, dude, he is dripping with the stuff. He was
Dang,
on
got
stage
him.
there. It was cool watching him perform. He's like doing like a little strut thing when he's playing. It was slick. So that's all the brothers Doobie, and yeah, I was having a very good time. I mean, it's obviously reminiscent of the Key and Peele sketch where they're talking about all the college football players with funny names. Except these are the actual names of the actual ensemble of Doobie Brothers.
Mm-hmm. You were just building a nice little desk, listening to the Doobies.
Yeah, it was great. It was also very funny because I have a cat, as you know, and like every step of building the desk, I was like, "Oh, my new bed, thank you," and he would lay on it, and I'd be like, God, "Get off." I have a video of him when I first opened the box, and he's like rolling. He's like a dog on top of shit, just like rolling around, like, "Yeah, desk, yeah." And I'm like, "Dang, I kind of don't want to build this desk anymore. I kind of just want this to be his new bed."
But you need a new bed for your computer.
Yeah, man. I do put it on sleep mode a lot.
Earlier last year, I built a desk. It was cool. Like, it was like a whole day thing. I was like, well, let me clean up my room real nice. Let me take out all the shit out of the way. And I very much feel you when you're clean. Like, it's like a cleaner area now that you have this desk.
Yeah, it feels great. And in preparing for a desk, I cleaned out a lot of my stuff as well. And it's always a very fun trip down memory lane, going through your old stuff. It's also very heartbreaking, like, having to make the decision to throw some shit away, even though you can pretend it was important to you. Or I'm like, oh, all these pins that my old coworkers at Starbucks gave me because I did a good job making coffee. Oh, how can I get rid of these? They gave it to me, and it's like, I have a drawer full of these. I was very good at making coffee. I still am, baby. Yeah, I don't know if you had that same experience going through your stuff and being like, I don't need this. Why do I have all of these old boxes to things I don't even own anymore?
I sure do. Like, I'm looking at my closet right now, and I have a whole box full of closets of things I currently own. I gotta. Like, you're gonna ruin the collector's value if we get rid of the box.
NRFB. Were you digging anything else, man?
I've been digging. A couple of weeks ago, I read this article about 7-Eleven. I was reading this article about 7-Eleven because it had a very interesting title. Why is it that 7-Eleven is so popular in Japan when it's not as popular? It's semi-popular here in the United States. And it just talked about, like, hey, the food at 7-Eleven is, like, good. It's tasty. And there's like a whole convenience store culture. They call them konbinis. Like, you can go to any convenience store and you can just get your your groceries, like an energy drink, a soda, just like you can here in the States. But the food that they sell, you can go to the fridge. They don't have like a nacho or a hot dog or like a microwave burrito. They got like meals, and they're really popular over there because it's like, man, I just got home from work. We ain't got drive-thrus. I'm gonna go to the 7-Eleven. I'm gonna grab myself like a rice bowl or a sushi thing or whatever is like a traditional quick Japanese meal. And here in the States, they said, this article was from a couple of months ago. They're saying they're gonna try to do their best to have good real food here at the 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring this up because I will go to 7-Eleven a lot. I used to like hardly ever go to 7-Eleven, like maybe once a year for free Slurpee day or whatever. But I wouldn't go to 7-Eleven hardly at all. But now, because of my work, I'm on the road so often. I work in one town, live in another, and that's like a 40-minute drive. Oof. And like if I sleep in a little bit, it's like, oh, I woke up at 8 and I gotta be in wherever at 8:30. I gotta go. And I'll like skip breakfast. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't have time to have, like maybe I'll grab a granola bar, maybe I'll grab an apple. But, that's not a meal. That's like something tied me over because I just woke up. But I'll go to 7-Eleven in the town where I work because it's like right down the street from where my boss lives. It's like a two-man company. It's me and my boss. That's the whole company. And I go to his like the apartment that he manages, and that's like his office. But there's 7-Eleven like right there. And I'll go over, I'm like, give me one of them, give me one of these, give me one of those. And I'll eat some of it. And I'll keep another one in my backpack, my little laptop bag. And then it's just like a nice, sweet little treat. It's like, oh, give me one of the hot dogs. Give me one of the jalapeno cheese taquitos.
Nice.
The cream cheese jalapeno. Them boys good. That's good eating.
Killer.
Like those are so good. There will be other places where I work. Is like, there's a bagel spot right down over there. I'm gonna go to the bagel spot, and that's a real meal. Like a bagel, like a ham and cheese croissant, cinnamon sugar bagel with cream cheese. They call it the Morning Star, where it's just like your average like normal bagel with the egg, the cheese, the sausage. Like that's normal.
Great.
But you got to get that at a bagel spot. At 7-Eleven, I feel like they're genuinely putting in the effort to have like good food. And that's partially because they're like, hey, there's no secret to why 7-Elevens are popular in other countries. They just have food that regular humans want to eat. And I feel that the food that they got at 7-Eleven ain't bad. I had a slice of pizza. They had a slice of pizza for $1, and it's like, I got $1 to waste on bad pizza. Like, even bad pizza is all right pizza. Like, the best, like, the worst pizza is better than a lot of bad foods.
Yeah, I would have taken that plunge too, honestly.
I am big digging 7-Eleven. They're taking care of your boy.
I'm glad, man. I'm a big fan myself. We have one pretty much walking distance from where we live right now, but it's just far enough and barely sketchy enough that I don't want to take that walk at night. And at night, for me personally, is the only time that I want to anything that 7-Eleven has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a big fan of going in there and just getting like 10 $1 items and having just like a very salty fourth meal. Well, there's like jerky and chips, and I'll get the pickle there. They have the pickle in the bag. I'll get a pickle.
No, like I feel like anything too heavy as a fourth meal, then I'm just like, then I'm up late. I'm waking up weird. I don't know. I can't do a heavy fourth meal. I'd prefer not to do a fourth meal at all. Like, I hate to go to bed hungry, but if you gotta eat, you gotta eat. And that's when, like, I'm gonna take out this slice of banana loaf that I got at the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, those loaf cakes they got there ain't too shabby.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like, I feel like Hostess has, like, a specific taste to it. The Mexican brand that does, like, gancitos and penguinos, those also have a very specific taste to them, but I feel like 7-Eleven doesn't. You get all the same, like, indulgence of just, like, a Hostess Twinkie, but it doesn't fill you with, like, the dread. You don't have the debuff that you have after eating a Hostess. I feel like 7-Eleven has, it's done me good, to reiterate. Like, I feel good after eating a 7-Eleven.
Hell yeah. In 24 hours, man, they're always there.
Always there for me. I used to be a delivery DoorDash guy. I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about that thing. I used to do hella deliveries to 7-Eleven. And I know it'd always be for like, I'm really high right now, so I can't go to 7-Eleven. And like the list of things would literally be like gummy bears, milk, and then I'd look at the thing that it told me to buy and it'd just say, and then like, all right, cool, got it.
Is there an option on DoorDash where it's just like every Slurpee flavor in the cup at the same time?
No, like the directions would tell you what they want, and then it would say like notes from the client, and then it would be like, hey, for the Slurpee, can you do these 3? I know it only says large Slurpee, but can you put a cherry like halfway, and then put a Coke the other half, and then if they got the mango, give me the mango. And I'd be like, they don't got mango, they only got pina colada. And it goes, they only got pina colada, I hate pina colada. And it'd be like, okay,
just cancel the.
Yeah, I don't want it anymore.
I'm so afraid of being that person. I never put anything in the special instructions, even when there are times where I really, really want to. Like, I've seen enough of the horror stories where it's like, there was one receipt going around that was like, medium pizza, special instructions. Make that bitch a large, baby.
I mean, everybody knows, like, the internet classic nun pizza with left beef.
I bet.
It's like, I'm going to charge you the same no matter what toppings are on it. So, I mean, if you want pizza with, like, a bunch of sausages rolling around in the box, then, you know, just tell them, make that shit boneless.
Yeah. I only worry that, like, the person making the pizza is young and, like, therefore is still, like, concerned about doing a bad job. And they see that and they're like, this can't be what they actually want. And, like, getting a manager to come look at it and be like, I don't know what to do. They're like, do we call them? Do we call them and make sure that's what they want?
Yeah, like, hey, are you sure you want a blank pizza? Like, no sauce, no cheese, nothing? Like, dog, I said what I said.
Oh, you don't have to know how to read to get a job at Domino's? That's cool. How would you feel about me sharing with you some of the jokes that I wrote this past week?
Yeah, man. Let's hit it.
For sure, man. I'll try to... Well, this will be quick, because if I'm fair, I did not have a great week. You know, I sat down at my computer, and I put words next to each other, and they were only funny sometimes. But, you know, it's all about repetition. It's all about putting the work in. That's how it happens, but they can't all be winners. Yeah. Did you listen to the episode last week with Cheevan and...
I didn't finish it. I only got about halfway.
That's fine. I only bring it up because the joke portion, it's... I mean, I wrote it in the description, but it's...
Oh,
it is very much a laugh at my pain situation.
Yeah, I think you told me even personally, like a little bit after you asked me to be back on the show, you're just like, hey, is something, like, does she not, like, have joy in her heart or anything?
No, I mean, in her, there were some like, for one, it was a little rushed because the two of them needed to start getting ready for their respective jobs. It also, like, just out of pure coincidence, all of my jokes were about how much I hate my wife and I cheat on my wife. I can't wait for my wife to die.
Classic.
Same. I also flubbed the, you know, I can come up with all the excuses I want, but ultimately it was, it was tough, baby, but that's comedy. All that to say is, I hope that doesn't happen again. So let me share with you some jokes I wrote. So let's see. Today in my joke writing club, the word of the day was air. Here we go. Yeah, I tried to sink a full court shot, but it accidentally landed on the prince's face. It was a total air ball.
Full court shot. Oh man.
Yeah, heir being heir to the throne.
Oh, okay.
Also, whiffing it.
Air. I thought you were just like normal air, like the stuff we breathe.
Yeah, we're off to a great start, baby.
I feel like that. I come up with a couple of jokes sometimes that are better written than they are.
Yeah.
The other thing. You know. Anyway, go on. I would rather not talk about how dumb I am and how I keep on forgetting what words are.
You're good, man, and like that's part of this joke segment is filtering out the jokes that are exactly like what you described, where it's like they're clever when they're written down, but when I say it out loud, it's like that's just a sentence. Why would I know where the joke is in that sentence unless I knew the words you're referring to? My oven makes a lot of noise, but it isn't broken. It's just full of hot air.
That one I don't know if I catch.
When a person is full of hot air, it means that they talk a lot, but they're not actually really saying anything.
Huh? I always thought that meant where it was like you're being like angry. Maybe I'm thinking of like plankton, 99% hot gas.
Oh yeah, I see. I'm not going to tell any more jokes with the word air. Let's see this one. So happy anniversary coronavirus. It's been nearly a full calendar year. Do you remember around this time last year where all the spring break kids were being criticized for going to Florida and doing spring break?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you or made this connection or saw it written somewhere, but it was reminiscent of the movie Jaws, where in the movie Jaws, it's the 4th of July weekend and the island is hosting the big like tourism event, but there's a shark in the water, but the mayor's like, what are you talking about? There's no shark in the water. Please come to my beach, please. And then people get launched. Last year's spring break felt a lot like the movie Jaws. That's why this year, instead of hitting the beach, spring breakers are heading to their rich uncle's cabin in the woods. That's gonna go much better for them, huh?
Yeah. I thought that is a good one. I do enjoy that one. I thought you were gonna say like they're heading over to their Uncle Bernie's, as because all the old people are dying in Florida.
Well, where else are they gonna die?
Yeah, they just came back from spring break from coronavirus. Now they're gonna spend their weekend at their Uncle Bernie's.
Hey, man. I like it. The word of the day yesterday was fast.
I like where this is going.
So, are you familiar with the concept of fasting?
Yes.
All right, yeah. So, some people fast for religious reasons. I certainly do. I fast for religious reasons, but I pray to God I can finally lose a couple fucking pounds.
Yeah, that sounds like that sounds like the point of a fast. I don't know if I caught the joke there either.
Some people fast specifically for religious reasons, so just as a means of sacrificing food, not just
so like if you're like giving up foods, or like you're doing Ramadan, or you're not eating like meats or whatever, but like just to lose a couple pounds. I was like,
yeah, so I pray to God I can lose a few pounds.
Oh, okay, yeah, now I'm getting it. You're praying to God, yeah.
Are you familiar with the concept of a water fast?
A water fast?
Yeah, so it's fasting except you drink water and that's it.
Do normal people not drink water when they fast?
Yeah.
Oh.
That is referred to as a dry fast.
What the? I guess I didn't know as much about fasting than I thought.
Yeah, I went on a water fast and I learned just how amazing our bodies are. Even without a single morsel of food, the human body is still able to produce copious amounts of diarrhea. You get diarrhea when you go on a water fast.
Yeah, that one was a very much under my breath. It's like, ugh. But I guess no, that one you may have actually lost me on that one because that one I was laughing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I always wondered what the term fast referred to. Turns out it's the speed with which you should probably get into the bathroom before you. Oh boy, oh, ooh. You're gonna shit your pants, buddy.
I was like, that's not where the water's supposed to come out of.
Yeah, man. I used to think that I owned sweaters. It turns out that all along I've just been breaking them in for my girlfriend. This joke won't. No, I'm not. I don't. I mean, I guess I have to say it now. I'm laughing at it, but
you gotta tell me the joke. You can't hype up this joke.
Okay. No, I'm reading it just to make. Okay, so the word of the day on this day was detail. And the joke is, I like to go into detail with my writing, but then I get an editor's note about what a fucking bitch my ex-wife is.
Also topical, because we were talking about it a minute ago, how the girls were just like, yeah, so you hate your wife, huh?
And then I had another detail joke. They say that it is immoral to dock your dog's tail. Or in other words, the devil is in the detail. Yeah, like I said, it was a rough week. I didn't write very much. So, let me see. Do you have anything?
This isn't a joke. It is a thing that's on my Twitter. It's like, so my family, we're a big fan of this show, Forged in Fire. If you're not familiar with it, it's about blacksmiths. 4 blacksmiths will show up and they'll be like, we're going to give you the challenge. You got to make this sword. You got to make this knife. You got to make this axe or whatever. And it's really cool. And like our family really enjoys it. But like at the end, 2 people make it to the finals and they go back to their home forges. They got to come back with their special ultra deluxe sword where it gives you +2 swings versus goblins. And it's like, the tweet is, this blacksmithing show, Forged in Fire, is cool, but society is just chasing the high of watching old men chop dead pigs with cool swords on Deadliest Warrior.
Dude, that shit was so sick.
Yeah.
Deadliest Warrior was so good.
Deadliest Warrior ruled, dude. The final, like, section of Forged in Fire gives me a very Deadliest Warrior energy, because it's just like, yeah, now we have, like, the expert who's gonna, like, chop a torso with your knife, and it gives it all, like, the zoom-in shots and, like, the blood going, and then there's, like, this Asian guy who goes, like, so we tested your sword, it will kill. And I don't know why he says it like that. He always goes, it will kill. K-E-E-L. And, like, everybody on this show is, like, the most swaggin', ballin' out dude. And he goes, Smiths, you have 1 hour remaining. And, like, I love that show. But that's my joke. Everyone's just chasing the high of Deadliest Warrior. I like the mouthfeel of saying old men chop dead pigs with cool swords.
Yeah, it's got a good cadence to it.
Yeah.
Alright, I think this will be the last joke. Ever since COVID started, my girlfriend's really been pressing my buttons. It's the only way to turn on the ventilator.
That one hit. That one hit.
Was that good? Alright, cool.
Oh, man.
Alright, folks, thanks for tuning in. This has been Morning Drew. This is my good buddy Noel, or Daniel, depending on at what point in his life you met him. Do you want the people to follow you anywhere, man?
No, man, I hate him. Don't look at me. No, follow my podcast, Haunts Are Us. It's not my podcast, it's my friend's podcast. I only work on it. But I put a lot of pride into it. It would mean a lot to me if everyone watched it. Follow me on Twitter at @NotReallyNoel_between-the-words. Or don't. But you gotta watch the podcast. If you heard this, you gotta watch the other podcast. You gotta.
Yeah, man, you promised. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you. My Twitter is the same, @DrewJFahey. My Instagram, @TankJFahey. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the places you can find them. You know, all I ask for you fine people at home, you just gotta make sure, drink water. It's good for you.
Shit rules.
And you know what? If you don't like the way it tastes, first of all, get over it. Second of all, try putting a little lemon in there.
Yeah. CDC recommends putting a little lemon in that bad boy.
You're gonna not listen to the CDC? Thanks again for listening, team. I love you. Take care. Bye.